All right, it's Brent Porcia at TopVelocity.net. I'm going to do a pitching analysis here at Casey, and I'm going to pair him up with Tim from when he was young youth pitcher. So I think this is good footage to have to use with my younger pitchers. So you can kind of see where Tim Lincecum was when he was a little kid. All right, let's take Casey into his leg lift. Let's take Tim. Well, Tim's already here in his leg lift where this footage starts. Both of them in a good position, lifting, doing a good job of lifting up and then leading forward or building that, taking those hips to the target. You can also see that as Casey's going, he's taking that ankle to knee with him. So this would be a great first move here. You can see Tim's in a very similar position, even as his lift leg comes down. Both very similar. Okay, let's see what Tim does from here. You can see he continues to load down as he takes the ankle to knee as best he can to his front hip, or it takes that force vector into linear position. You know, this is tough for young pitchers to get down and build this much flexion at a young age because, you know, our leg strength doesn't show up until we get to high school, college. So to show some leg strength at a young age is pretty impressive. So you can see this is impressive that little Tim is doing this. But this is the goal here. We want to make sure we're moving down, building flexion as we're lining up the force vector, the ankle knee, and staying closed. And this is what Tim's doing here, not as well as he does today, but incredibly well for his age. So we can see here Casey, and then this brings up a great point of what I talk about in a lot of my analysis. You can see Casey did a great job getting to this good first move, but he then pretty much, lets it or doesn't take advantage of it. And what he allows to happen is he allows his front leg to open up, all his weight to go forward, and him to land with a stiff drive leg where he never used the drive leg to build power. The reason we lead with the hip, we start our movement early, and we take that drive leg knee with our front hip, is because we want to put ourselves in a position to start building speed, preventing the lift leg from opening early, so we can get into this position that Tim is in. So if this lift leg would have flung open early and you didn't lead with the hip, and you didn't take that force vector with it, you never would be able to even have the potential to get where Tim is. So the goal, the reason for this, is to get to this. Flexion in the drive leg knee, force vector as linear as you can, meaning this knee pointing to that target as linear as you can. Let me draw a line since I have my draw tool here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So we want this force vector right there. So that would be your ankle and knee, and then your front hip out here. That's where we want to get. Tim is almost there. His force vector is just a little vertical because that's his front hip here. So we want to get all the way down here and out here. And that's why we start with this move. So a lot of pitching coaches talk about this move. But the problem with this move is if you don't know how to get into this position, load position, and you don't know how to convert it or build power out of it, which is the next component, then this position serves no purpose. So I always say this is like putting the cart before the horse. So you're not focusing on the foundation, which is this component into the power component, which is 3x pitching. That's the approach here. So our goal is in the 3x pitching velocity program, where Casey ultimately could move into, after he moves to the beginner's guide, he could move into it in using a basketball instead of a 2-pound medicine ball. He could then start to master and develop the power component into the torque component, or how we convert that power. So because we can see at this point, letting the lift leg go and the head go with it really puts us in a position to where Casey could have just started like this and just swung his arm back and threw the ball and probably thrown harder. So at his age, the best advice for Casey would be to not spend a lot of time in the delivery until he can learn how to do what Tim's about to do here. So we can see Tim, even though he's extended out with his front leg, it's still closed off. So you can see it starts to open up, and that's that foot sink I talk about in my articles as he drives the back leg through, and you can see it completely driven through as he lands, and the shoulder completely closed. So this is the component Casey needs to start to train. From here to here with that hip to shoulder separation. And we work on that the whole time through the 3X pitching velocity program in the Ace Pitcher Handbook. And then we also work on this from here to external rotation to here. Look at that external rotation. At this age is just unbelievable. It's obvious. If, just seeing this, I would have said, if this young man could keep these mechanics as he gets quicker or bigger, stronger, faster, we are definitely going to see, D1 or minor league or major league or maybe one of the greatest pitchers ever, which is pretty impressive. So you can see Casey here, does this right, but from there on out, pretty much just kind of falling in whipping the arm or just letting the arm go. So he needs to just now baby steps and work on the load to triple extension before front foot strike, into hip shoulder separation, into external rotation, into release. And that's where we spend most of the time in the 3X pitching velocity program. So Casey's, got a great start here. Most young guys don't work on these kind of mechanics at this age. So just allow him to take this time to learn about it, educate himself on it, move through these drills and start to feel what it's like to move through these components. And, in a couple of years, you're going to have a kid who has some really good mechanics. So until then, keep asking questions and keep us up to date on your progress.